So this will be a lore rundown of the Endless Ragnarok's second trailer of Granblue Relink. I am covering this trailer because it has more information that I found interesting. This video will contain potential spoilers that may be mentioned in the Relink story when it comes to Fraux, as I explain about the Evokers and the primal known as the Inchoate World, while going over the things in this trailer. So with that said, let's begin.
Bring the earth together, dissipate into the wind, and seek the heat of flames. I'm so close.
So here Fraux is reciting something to herself as she walks into Seed Hollow's Castle Tavern, where she meets Jita and Lyria in the trailer. I speculate that this might be in reference to the world's plan and seeking out the devil. Fraux also mentions that she is close to being able to achieve something, perhaps in awakening the Devil Pack card. More on that in a little bit.
Hi there. You can call me Fraux. You're so pretty.
Fraux is an Arun woman that's a part of a leaderless faction named the Arcarum Evokers. While the 10 Eternals, the strongest crew of individuals in the Sky Realm, are people who fight to protect it. The 10 Evokers are more gray characters that, through the promise of a perfect world, would see to the destruction of the current one due to the lives they lived. The tone of the Evoker stories have heavier and darker themes in them compared to other stories. To give an example, if you already know about Nier from Versus, her story is one that had to do with criminal levels of domestic abuse and psychological trauma done to her. Additionally, everyone in this faction did not know one another up until a story event last year called Arcarum Evokers First Reunion. The only exception is Catselia and Haselia, who are siblings. And Nier got acquainted with Maria coincidentally. This clip from the event story will give you a rundown on all of them, as eventually they abandon having anything to do with the world's plans.
とにかく10体の聖少獣は10人の賢者と共に破空戦争や君たちの情報を集めることになった。ここまではいいよね。
Alright, let's continue.
The World. It's a primal beast, and the first of its kind in a series of primals called the Arcarum. It watches, remembers, and stores information on everything it can find, even stuff that dates back to the dawn of creation.
What's the point of even doing something like that?
It's collecting data to build an entirely new world.
So here, Fraux goes into speaking about the world's plan, which is to analyze the data of the current world in order to create a new world. As I showed earlier, Fraux and the other Evokers are doing the same thing. Fraux put emphasis on the world to to differentiate the primal beast named the World from the planet itself or the Sky Realm. The Relink website and the Gacha game refer to World as the Inchoate World. In the Gacha, this new world in its prototype stage was called the Replicard Sandbox. The MC and the crew of enforcers end up being confined in this space due to a man named Heist, who was being used by the world. He was the main reason why Inchoate World manifested, and a part of why it evolved to gain a will of its own. As the crews was fighting in order to escape, they were advancing the world's plans. As the MC and others escape, the Inchoate World kills and absorbs Highest with the sandbox. At this point in time, the MC searches for the figures who are also involved in this plan and were seen on this island, the Evokers. The world at the same time issued the order to his Arcarum primal beasts to use the Evokers for their worth and then destroy them. As in, use them for their data collection, which would advance the world's plans further. They were fragile creations that required packs to stay manifested, but the Inchoate World overlooked that the packs could supersede his control over them, the very control the primals despised. It's possible that Relink might be showing the Inchoate World taking an alternate approach towards creating a new world. Because after all, Zega Grande Skydam's Seed Hollow Tavern isn't really the place Fraux meets the MC in the Gacha. It was Saphira Island and then some other location in Fanta Grande Skydam. Now let's check out the next scene.
I remember something Lilith said about the 6 dragons, that they'd awaken when the Sky Realm is in dire straits.
It is my duty to protect the realm. That, of course, includes Zega Grande.
The 3rd new world. It will be perfect.
The quote here that says, "The vortex swallows, strength and all," refers to the vortex Fediel is staring at, and Fraux potentially coming into eventual contact with it. Strength is what Fraux represents, because each evoker represents a pair of tarot cards. Fraux would be strength, paired with the devil. She also has enhanced strength due to her pact with the devil. This vortex looks like it may have to do with chaos, which falls in line with Beelzebub showing up in Granblue Relink. We also hear Ed speaking about how Lilith told him about the 6 dragons. It surprises me that an Astral even knows anything about the 6 dragons. Maybe Relink will reveal why that is, because the 6 weren't around at the time when Astrals ruled the realm, and the 4 Primarchs used to be the ones managing the flow of the elements until they ceded their roles. With that being said, what Lilith told Ed, though, is correct. The 6 dragons are said to be the pillars of the world, representing the personification of each element. And so, they act in response to threats to the Sky Realm in order to keep it safe. There will be a little more said on Fediel later in this video. As for World's statement about the 3rd world, the Sky Realm is the 1st world, the Astral Realm is the 2nd world, and the world he's trying to create would be the 3rd world. This may show further proof towards Inchoate World taking a different approach with his plan. The way the monsters look like appear to be creations of the Inchoate World through the gathered data of the Sky Realm. This also applies to this version of Managarmar here, who could be dubbed Managarmar Militus. So this may potentially be the Replicard Sandbox again. Let's look at the next set of scenes.
I was fine letting this world disappear.
You are bound by a curious fate as much as they are. Will you also surrender to the Singularity's pull before long?
There was nothing for me to love. So, I answered the devil's call.
Naught remains in my breast but enmity for that cursed beast.
Was an evoker of the devil. Why do you spurn the birth of the new world?
So first I'd like to mention just how amazing the Inchoate World looks here. And this is really why I think that Granblue Relink makes the absolute best depictions of Granblue characters. In my Primal Beast video, I show that Versusia in Granblue Versus, who is Bahamut using Rain's body, calls the Inchoate World a false idol, or more specifically, a false god. The devil also calls him out as a false god. As the sky god, due to Bahamut essentially being the sky realm itself, it makes sense that it already knew of the Inchoate World's plan to replace the sky realm with a new world governing it as its self-proclaimed god. What Fraux says here in the trailer is in reference to things she says in her Fate episode. How due to her bad past experiences and losing her best friend, she had nothing left and was then beckoned by the devil, forming a pact and becoming an evoker in the process. The technique Fraux does here is shown in the Gacha. It's called Devilish Rumble. Also, I always like the idea of seeing Fraux in Relink or Versus, because her technique looks similar to Bayonetta, and I found that cool. The devil's remark towards the Inchoate World, as I had explained prior, has to do with being manipulated by him to do his bidding. Fediel's remark also has the implication of her speaking to Fraux. The two, however, never met each other at all in the Gacha story, and the Inchoate World's quote about Fraux is another quote from him in the Gacha, with him asking why she stands in opposition of the creation of his new world. We can also see how Inchoate World creates the Arcarum cards here. Now let's check out the last portion of this trailer.
We are the wedges, elemental forces which maintain the shape of the world. In essence, we are the very bedrock of Genesis itself. I, Fediel the Black, charge you with the trial of thresholds.
So here, this character is introduced as Fediel the Black. Each of the dragons have a title representing the element they personify. For Fediel, it's darkness. She is 6'10". You can see how she dwarfs Vikala in size here, funny enough. The sentence here mentioning how the realm bows to darkness is a reference to her strength as one of the 6 dragons. Just by existing as a wedge, the 6 maintain the shape of the world. But they can just as easily shake up its elemental balance and influencing the very laws of nature that is within the boundaries of their element. Her dragon form is this large, skeletal dragon, and judging by her quote here saying that she will be conducting a trial, it implies that a boss fight with her will happen. I wouldn't be surprised if she used a technique that just instantly kills you in Relink, or have a field effect that drains your HP over time. I have more in-depth information on Fediel and the 6 dragons in my 6 dragons video, so feel free to check that out. The last thing shown in the trailer shows that the artwork for Granblue Relink Ragnarok was updated to have Fraux and Fediel in it. A last thing I want to speak about has to do with something major that the Inchoate World did that was revealed in the story event of the Arcarum Evokers last year. So as I mentioned before, the Arcarum Evokers are a group of characters who all acted on their own agendas due to what they went through and help further the world's plan and indulge in the potential benefits it would give them. The benefits, however, was a ploy, because the Inchoate World sought to use the Evokers for the task of data collection and keeping the Arcarum Primals manifested through the Arcarum cards. Both the Evokers and Arcarum Primals were disposable to him, so then he made his Arcarum Primals act on his plan, and when he got enough data, he could proceed with his plan to create a new world. But this wouldn't be the only means he used for data collection. Given that there were 10 pairs of Evoker and Arcarum Primal, the world was split into 10 versions of itself after the MC encountered Inchoate World on Amalthea Island. The MC then met a single different Evoker in each world, where they eventually take out the Inchoate World. So where am I going with this? Well, at the time when Fraux was questioned why she is against the Inchoate World's plan to create a new world and destroying the current one, you could select which Evoker to display during this scene. So you can say, instead of Fraux standing in this Relink trailer, the other Evokers could also be standing right where Fraux is standing, as they all are being questioned by the Inchoate World at that very moment in other copies of the Sky Realm. So, will Granblue Relink's story acknowledge this or show the other Evokers after the defeat of the Inchoate World? Well, given it was an off-screen moment of the Inchoate World splitting the world into 10, as well as how in every individual Evoker route, it never showed any indication of the Evokers noticing each other, I doubt it. One other thing, I mentioned that the Arcarum Evokers was a leaderless faction, though as it turns out in the story last year, they ended up having a new leader to represent them all. That concludes my lore breakdown of the second trailer of Granblue Relink. If you wish to learn more about the Primal Beasts, the Arcarum Evokers, and the Six Dragons, give these videos a watch. Thanks for watching.